Okay, the meeting is now live on YouTube and the room has been open to the public, so they should be entering any moment if they are coming.
Okay, well, welcome everyone. It's Wednesday, May 5th, the Fresno City Planning Commission meeting and Cinco de Mayo. So I believe we're ready to go. Can the secretary please take the roll call?
Commissioner Hardy,
Present, thank you.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Here.
Commissioner Vang,
Here.
Commissioner Diaz,
Here.
Commissioner Kreiner, and Chair Bray.
Here. We'll now do the Pledge of Allegiance. So comes Gavin and the flag. Okay,
Hold on one second. I'm having a little bit of a technical difficulty here.
we could imagine a flag.
It's coming, I promise.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, ready, salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. While emergency order number 2020-12 is in effect, the City of Fresno public meetings will be conducted electronically and telephonically only. As such, this meeting is being conducted electronically and telephonically. The public may participate in tonight's meeting by using the Zoom link or calling the phone number provided on the Planning Commission agenda. Please note that all participants will be on mute until they're called upon by the chair, at which point they will be unmuted and have 3 minutes to speak. If you're a member of the public would like to comment on an item, please use the raise hand function on Zoom, or if you're calling in, dial *9. To avoid confusion, please wait for the item you desire to comment on to be called on by the chair before electronically raising your hand or dialing *9. For each matter considered by the commission, there will first be a staff presentation, followed by a presentation from the project applicant. Testimony from the supporters of the project will then be taken, followed by testimony from those in opposition. The applicant will have the right to a final rebuttal presentation prior to closing the public hearing. In accordance with Section 13 of Article 2 of the Planning Commission Rules and Regulations governing the length of public debate, all public testimony from those in support and in opposition to the project will be limited to 3 minutes per person. Any testimony that references race, religion, ethnicity, economic status, national origin, or any other classification protected under state or federal law in a derogatory manner shall be deemed irrelevant and will not be considered by the commissioners in making its land use determinations. If you challenge these land use matters in court, you may be limited to raising only those issues you or someone else raised in oral or written testimony or before the close of the hearing. So we'll start with the approval of the agenda. Are there any changes to the agenda? Okay. Do any
Not this
commissioners
evening.
Pardon?
Commissioner Bray, there are no changes to make this evening.
Okay. Do any commissioners have any changes to the agenda? All right. So can I have a motion to approve, please?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Commissioner Diaz, seconded by Commissioner McKenzie. Can we please take a roll call vote?
Commissioner Hardy,
Yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Vang,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
and Chair Bray.
Yes. So it looks like we don't have anything on the consent calendar, correct? So are there any reports by commissioners? Nope. No continued matters. So we'll move on to new matters. Number 8A, ID 210334, hearing regarding a proposed development agreement by and between the City of Fresno and Lennar Homes. So can we have the staff presentation, please?
Yes, Chair Brigg will tack Planning and Development Department. Give me just a second to share screen, please. Is everybody seeing that okay?
Yes.
Okay, so the item before you this evening is a proposed development agreement between the City of Fresno and Lennar Homes of California, along with the associated environmental assessment. It's the vicinity map of the subject property. The area of concern or that is subject to the development agreement is approximately 62 gross acres or 45 net acres of property located on the east side of Fowler Avenue between Fancher Creek and Kings Canyon Road. This is an aerial image of the same subject property. You can see that portions of the property have already been built out with single family homes. We have construction currently in progress there, subject to the approved tentative maps, which the development agreement applies. We have existing residential development to the north, east, south, and west, elementary school to the west side of Fowler, and a spot of commercial development on the south side of Kings Canyon. The properties on either side of the intersection of Fancher Creek and Fowler Avenue remain vacant, but are planned and zoned for commercial use. This is the general plan land use map for the area. Again, the area of concern subject property is planned for medium density residential. You'll also see a green area there, which is designated for open space. The green area that traverses in a northwest southeast direction along the North Armstrong Avenue alignment is a transmission line easement for electrical. And then you can see at the northernmost portion of the property, the area shown in green following Fancher Creek, where we have a class 1 designated trail. We have medium low density residential to the north and the east and the west side of Fowler. Again, commercial planned properties at the intersection of Fancher Creek and Fowler and south of Kings Canyon, the public facility, elementary school, and community park on the west side of Fowler. 2005, Fresno City Council certified EIR number 10133 for purposes of the Fancher Creek Development Project. That project was to occur at 4 locations comprising approximately 476 acres of land. In the image to the left on your screen, you can see those 4 locations identified with bold black lines and shading. Approval for the development project also included vesting tentative tract map number 5232 that you see to the right hand of your screen. That was for location number 3, and that was comprised of a total 690 single family residential lots on approximately 234 acres of land. 2016, the City of Fresno approved the revision to a portion of the vesting tentative tract map 5232. Again, this is the portion subject to the proposed development agreement. And that revision provided 260 lot single family residential subdivision, again, 45 net acres of land. And that was for purposes of facilitating the subdivision, again, subject to the proposed development agreement. This is the last phase of the residential portion of the Fancher Creek development. And there are 2 final map phases of this portion of 5232. Final map numbers 6158 and 6159. 6158 is currently in the process of being constructed, and 6159 is pending processing and recordation. Proposed development agreement proposes a term of 2 years plus 1 day following the effective date of execution. It provides for the completion of final map 6158 and the filing and recordation of final map 6159. Again, the last 2 phases there under the approved tentative map. Provides partially vested fees for final map 6158 and payment of current fees for 6159. It also provides fee credits and reimbursements for already paid fees in excess of those required by the agreement. Those are fees that have already been paid by the applicant. Oops. And it also provides for what the development agreement identifies as other city required exactions. These are capital improvements, which the city considers beneficial to the city and trade. and which would not otherwise have been required by the tentative map. And this includes an additional park along the south side of Fancher Creek, which can serve as a trailhead, have a tot lot, and other associated typical park improvements. It also provides for a trail extension that will connect to the portion of trail that will be constructed between Fancher Creek Drive and Tulare. And it will extend that trail east of the subdivision to the approximate Cypress Avenue alignment. I'll show you in a minute. It also provides for roundabout landscaping, and that's relative to the roundabout that exists within Fowler Avenue, which at present is bare dirt and has not been landscaped. So this is an exhibit that shows the 3 locations of the city's other exactions. At the top left of the screen, you can see the proposed park area, again, which would be improved by the developer subject to the development agreement. The top right, you can also see the portion of the trail segment, which would be improved and dedicated east of the subdivision. So we're going to extend that trail further to the east, help connect with additional new developments out in that area. And then at the bottom left, you can see the roundabout location at the intersection of Fancher Creek Drive and Fowler Avenue, for which landscape improvements would be provided under the development agreement. It's a little bit prettier image. This doesn't show the roundabout at Fowler, but it shows the open space associated with the transmission line easement, again, traversing the property in a northwest-southeast direction and through the northern part of the subdivision. Again, the park at the northwest or upper left-hand portion of your screen. And then it also shows the trail improvements associated with the subdivision and, again, the segment to the east pursuant to the development agreement. Staff is recommending that the commission recommend approval to the City Council of the environmental assessment number P21079, which was prepared as an addendum to the environmental impact report previously certified for the Fancher Creek development. And we're also recommending that this commission recommend approval to the City Council of an ordinance approving the proposed development agreement by and between Lennar Homes and the City of Fresno. This concludes staff's presentation, and we're available to field any questions the commission may have.
Do any commissioners have questions for Will? Okay. So, well, we don't really have are the applicants here, or?
I'm not seeing any names familiar from the applicant group. I did provide them the link. There is a telephone number there. I'm not sure whom that is.
I believe one of the representatives just raised their hands.
Yeah, the telephone number just raised their hand. You want me to unmute it, Kathy?
Please.
Hello?
Hi, can you state your name, please?
Yes, this is Mike Durkee, attorney representing Lennar Homes, and thank you for the excellent staff report, Will, and we have nothing to state other than support for the action tonight, and thanks for Raj and all of the folks involved.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so we'll go out to the public now. Is there any from the public who wishes to comment in favor of this application?
There are no hands up.
Is there anyone here in opposition?
No hands are up.
Okay, so we'll close the hearing and take it back to the commission. Do I have any comments or a motion from any of the commissioners?
I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve staff's recommendation.
Thank you, Commissioner Vang. Can we have a second, please?
Second.
Okay, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Commissioner Hardy, I think you're on mute, Commissioner Hardy.
Sorry, yes.
Commissioner McKenzie,
Yes.
Commissioner Vang,
Yes.
Commissioner Diaz,
Yes.
and Chair Bray.
Yes, so that passes. I'm glad to see there's a park being built there. That's great. So we will move on to item 8B, which is a consideration of updates for our rules and regulations. So it's being presented today pursuant to Section 5 of Article 6 of the Planning Commission Rules and Regulations pertaining to amending the rules and regulations. We will not be voting on this today. A vote will be held at the next regular meeting of the commission. So can we have the presentation, please? And Will, thank you for your presentation on the last item.
Good evening, Chair Bray. Mike Sanchez, Assistant Director of Planning and Development Staff. Before you this evening is a proposal to amend the proposed Planning Commission bylaws. The proposed changes cover 4 specific areas. The first is to update the references regarding the Planning and Development Department. The second is an update to the order of business to separate the approval of minutes from the consent calendar. Add a rule, number 3, to add a rule requiring submission of documents to the Planning Commission no later than 24 hours prior to the Planning Commission meeting at which the related item is being heard. And lastly, the 4th is clerical correction. So I wanted to share the screen here for a second and just, there you go. I'm sorry, I got the wrong one. Having some technical difficulties here. I'm trying to pull up the your attachment, which is in your staff report. Let's see here.
I think it is up, Mike. I can see it on my phone. I can't.
You can see the rules and regulations.
I think that's what that is. Let me look.
Mike, we can see their screen.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So so the first amendment would be to correct the references to the Planning and Development Department to reflect the Planning and Development Department. The current bylaws do reflect the previous name. The name has changed, so that's a very minor edit throughout the document. The second point we want to mention is number 2, update the order of business. And I'll just scroll down here to page 4 of your packet. Order of business, what we're proposing to do here is remove the minutes and give it its own section. And that is done primarily to allow the commission to discuss the minutes during its deliberations. We've had some situations where there's been some concern about the minutes. So we're just going to simply separate that one out and have its own separate item for it. In addition to that, you see right underneath the consent calendar, we're gonna change the name for communications to non-entitlement items. The non-entitlement items are simply items such as extensions of time or things like that sort. The third change that we're proposing to make is a rule adding into Article 4, Section 3 of page 9. So let me just quickly scroll down to that. See it right here in the middle there. So this is to add a rule requiring submission of documents to the Planning Commission no later than 24 hours prior to the Planning Commission meeting at which the related item is being heard. Currently, the Commission does not have such a rule for cutoffs. This amendment would mirror the City Council's rule, and this is designed that documents are timely submitted that can be reviewed by staff and disseminated to commissioners and duly included into the record. As the commission is aware, we've had recent situations where we've had last minute document dumps, and that has led to some delays in the processes of application. So certainly adding this provision to the bylaws would stem that from occurring. The fourth one is simply clerical correction throughout the document, just simply correcting grammar and formatting. As Kathy outlined earlier in her announcement of the item, the commission is just to hear this today. It'll be placed on the agenda for the meeting of the 21st, or I'm sorry, the 19th for formal approval and adoption. And with that, I'll turn it back to the commission if they have any questions of staff. And we also have our city attorney available to answer any procedural questions as well. And that concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Does the commission have any questions for staff or the city attorney?
Mike, just have a question for you. In a case where we don't receive information before the 24 hours, what happens in that type of situation?
So if we, so I'm sorry, Commissioner Mann, can you repeat the question? You're saying if we don't get information prior to the 24 hours, or if you don't receive the information?
Yes, if we don't receive the information within the 24-hour period, like what happens? Like, let's say, for example, someone sends in a letter and it's like, you know, falls within the 24 hours and we don't receive it. Does that item gets pushed back, or what happens in that situation?
I don't believe it gets pushed back. It'll just simply be part of the record. It will not be considered as part of the proceedings for that particular matter for the planning commission. Roger can certainly correct me on that.
Raj, is that correct?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear my name. Yes, the difference is that currently what happens is staff ends up scrambling to ensure that you all receive the documents. That can become difficult if something is produced or provided, you know, minutes before the start of the meeting. And so anybody can present anything at hearing. It's just that staff would not be responsible for scrambling within 24 hours prior to a meeting.
And so this is standard procedure for the city council. We just haven't been following it. Is that correct?
Yes, so this rule has been taken from the city council rules and has just been modified for the planning commission.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I think, you know, in view of our not last meeting, but the one before, where we had so much come in late that we couldn't really review, and then we had to put the meeting off and the public was unhappy about that. I think this is a good answer to make it so that we can make a decision when it's happening and when people are there, and we don't have to tell them they got to come back later. So I'm very much in favor of this. I think it's a very good idea. Does anyone else have comment? Okay, and so Raj, do we still go out to the public with this?
Yeah, you can go out to the public for this.
Hey.
It is a new matter, but you're not
Is there-
taking action on it.
Yeah, is there anyone from the public that wishes to comment in favor or opposition to this? Okay,
There
all
are no hands up at this time.
right, so we will bring it back by staff at our next regular meeting and move on to the report by the secretary. Do we have a report?
Good evening, Chair Bray and Planning Commission. I do not have a report this evening. I know that you've been wanting to know when a new planning commissioner would be appointed by the city council. They are working on that. So I know that that helps you reach quorum in certain situations. So the city council is diligently working on that, and I hope within the next 1 to 2 meetings that we'll have an additional member to the planning commission.
Great. Okay, next is the unscheduled communication. If you're a member of the public and would like to comment, please use the raise hand function or Zoom. Or if you're calling in, dial *9 and you have 3 minutes. Does anyone have their hand up, Gavin?
No, ma'am.
All righty then. I'm not sure what time it is, but we are adjourning. And thank you all for being here, and thank you staff for preparing your presentations. Have a
Thank
lovely
you.
evening. Okay, thank you. Have a nice evening.
It's 6:24.
6:24. Thank you, sir.